In this PowerPoint, we're going to learn how to find the equation of a line on the Cartesian plane. So you've been used to find the equation of a line given like a table of values. So now we're going to find what happens when you're just given a line and you need to find the equation of that line. I'm going to give you some reminders. We're going to review how to do it with table of values. I'm going to give you a nice recipe for finding the equation of a line. So here are some reminders. 1. The basic rule of a linear function is y equals ax plus b. A is the slope, b is the initial value, or y-intercept of the function. So you already know this. You already knew the rule for slope. Now you know how to find the initial value algebraically. You're very familiar with this. You can find slope using the formula, or you can also use rise over run. And you can solve the initial value by either solving the pattern given a table of values, or you can do it algebraically, as I just said. When you're given a table of values, you're given a set of points, which you learned when we were doing initial value. With those set of points, you can find the slope and then the initial value, whether algebraically or with a pattern. So here's one. In this case, you find the slope using the rule, y2 minus y1. These are a set of points. You use them to plug it in and find your initial value, which is 6. Or if you want to, you could do it in your head and find the pattern and you can add 6. But either way, you should know how to find the rule given a table of values. What happens if you're not given a table? What happens if you're just given this graph, this Cartesian plane? How are you supposed to find the points if you're not given a table of values? So what do you do when all you get is the function on a Cartesian plane? So now I'm going to give you what I call a good recipe for finding the equation of a line. So what you need, your ingredients would be 2 points. You need at least 2 points. And your directions are to step 1, once you have your 2 points, find the slope. Step 2, find the initial value. And then step 3, create the rule y equals ax plus b. Now, remembering that, and I'll repeat this later, when you do the rule, your y and your x stay y and x. Your a and your b become the numbers that you found. So a rule or a formula or an equation of a line always has y as y and x as x. So you need 2 points. That was your ingredients. So if you only need 2 points, you just need to find your own. So I found my own here. It's important that you find numbers that you are sure of, but sometimes you can't actually be exactly sure of the numbers. So here I'm approximating. I think this is for sure 4, and it's about 13. And this one here is for sure -6 on the x and about 3 on the y. So I'm approximating, but in this case it's exact, but sometimes they're not always going to be. Don't be shy to use decimals either. It's like 13.5, use 13.5. Step 1, your directions are to find the slope. So now that you have your 2 points, you have the ingredients you need, you find the slope. So you use your rule, and I've labeled your x1, y1, and your x2, y2 for you. This one comes first, this one comes second. You plug it into your rule, you get 10 over 10, which is equal to 1. So you have your slope A, it's 1. So check, step 1 is done. Step 2 is to find the initial value. So at this point we have the slope, so we have this rule, y is equal to 1x plus b. Now again, you don't need to put the 1 in front, it's okay. I'm putting it just for the sake of you seeing that that's my slope. I'm going to actually use my first point here to find b. So I have my slope, I have my x is -6, my y is 3, and so when I plug it in to find b, I get that b is equal to 9. So step 2 is done. Step 3 is to create the rule. So it's very simple now because you have your a, you have your b, you plug it in, you get y is equal to 1, or just x, plus 9. And that's it. So let's do another one. I want you to find the equation of the line for the following function. So here's a function. What is the first thing that we need? First, your ingredients are that you need 2 points. So again, even if you can't see exactly where the point is, you can approximate as best as you can, but I would pick points that you know for sure. So I for sure knew these 2 points on my graph. Step 1, now that I have my 2 points, find the slope. So I do y2 minus y1, and I label them here for you. This one comes first from left to right, so this is x1, y1, and this one comes second, so it's x2, y2. And when I plug it in, I get -5.5, and that's my a. So now step 2 is to find the initial value. So at this point, now that we found the slope as -5.5, we have -5.5x plus b. I'm going to use the first point and I'm going to plug it into my rule that I have here with y is 8 and x is negative 2. And when I solve, I get that b is equal to negative 3. So now with all of these, my a and my b, I can easily create my rule by keeping my y and x as is and plugging in my number for a and my number for b. So now I want you to do it yourself. I want you to find the equation of this line. Remember the recipe that I told you? Get the ingredients, find the directions, and then find what the equation of this line is. Once you find the slope and the initial value, you should get that, in this case, y is equal to 2.8x plus 4. So to recap, by now, after everything that we've done, you should know how to identify a function. So what is a function? You should know that x is independent and y is dependent. You should know how to find the slope with a table of values. You should know how to find the initial value by the pattern of a table of values. You should know now how to find the slope on our Cartesian plane. You should know how to find the initial value algebraically. And that is the end of finding the equation of a line. Up next, you're going to finally learn how to actually properly graph a line on a Cartesian plane.